Gentlemen, welcome back to Real Scent Review. Valentine's Day right around the corner. In fact, by the time I get around to uploading this video, it might already be a little bit past Valentine's Day, but not to worry because I'm gonna give you 5 fragrances that just work perfectly well in any sort of date situation. They garner a ton of positive attention, especially from women. So if you're into that, stick around and check out this video. Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Scent Review. So it's right around Valentine's Day right now. In fact, by the time I get around to uploading this video, it might already be a little bit past Valentine's Day. But this year, Valentine's Day falls on a Wednesday, so I'm sure a lot of you guys are gonna make your romantic dinner and date plans for the coming weekend instead of this Wednesday. Anyway, regardless of when you make your date plans, I guarantee you these 5 fragrances are really going to complement the occasion, and they get some pretty positive attention from the female audience, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are concerned about that. So before I mention these, I'm not saying that these fragrances are going to change your life or anything. Just because you have a really nice fragrance doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna pull a lot of positive attention, Personality, personal hygiene, your choice of outfits, your demeanor in general. All of those factors are much more important in respect to gaining positive attention. So these fragrances are not intended to save your lives, but they're intended to just enhance your outfit. They're intended to enhance the personality you already have. They're intended to complement your own style. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the list here. First one on the list is gonna be Fahrenheit Le Parfum from Dior, of course. This one here, I have so many good things to say about it. I like that it takes elements of the original Dior Fahrenheit and just kind of modernizes the entire composition. So the main notes in this one are gonna be violet leaf, rum, vanilla, and suede. So this one here maintains that violet leafy suede kind of gasoline tinge from the original Eau de Toilette. But this one, it turns down the gasoline vibe, turns up the sweetness. In fact, it completely adds a sweetness that was non-existent in the EDT. So in this one, we get some very natural smelling vanilla. Never goes too syrupy sweet or anything. The vanilla is a little bit powdery, especially mixed with that suede. And there's some spiced rum in this. Gives it a very slight boozy characteristic. It's not overly alcoholic or anything. The spices and the sweetness of the rum are the components that are gonna be most apparent in this. It's not so much the boozy quality, but like I said, the sweet spiciness of that rum. So it can give off some nutmeggy, some clove-like tinges here, along with just a very slight booziness, but it's very classy, it works. And with that vanilla, it's really all about the vanilla and that dusty suede in the dry down. In the fire dry down, I get iris or maybe some ambrette. It's a very concentrated powdery note, almost to the point of being a little bit woodsy in a way. It reminds me a little bit of the dry down of Dior Homme Parfum. And of course, François Demachy is the nose behind this one, as well as the Dior Homme Parfum. So I definitely detect some slight similarities in the dry down here. But like I said, this is really all about the vanilla, suede, violet leaf, and rum. This one is classy, it's elegant, it's a little bit mature, it's definitely alluring and gentlemanly, but it's also a little bit, badass at the same time. I would say on this list, it's one of the more formal members. I would definitely wear this to a fancy place like a jazz club or a high-end restaurant. But at the same time, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's formal without being boring. It just works really well. And yeah, a lot of compliments from the females on this one. This is going to be a very good date night fragrance for you if you're looking for something that kind of pushes into formal territory without being too serious. The second one on this list is going to be Prada L'Homme. This is just the regular Eau de Toilette version. And I just want people to continue to be aware of this one. I think it's really good. At this point, it might be a little bit slept on or under the radar compared to 3 or 4 years ago, for example. So the main notes in this one are gonna be iris, neroli, black pepper, and cardamom. So this one is slightly soapy, it's slightly sweet, it's a little bit warm. It even goes slightly powdery in a way. So this a lot of times gets compared to like a luxury soap. It's not the ivory soap that you get from, I don't know, Vetiver by Guerlain, for example. It's not that kind of soap. This is, like I said, sweet, sweetish, luxury, 5-star hotel kind of soap. Because of that iris and the cardamom, it does give it a slight spicy powderiness, but as this goes drying down, there's a little bit of a spicy, warm black pepper, and that really complements the orangey, kind of aromatic neroli that exists in this. The neroli is, out of this note list, probably the least noticeable, but I think it is there, and the neroli itself kind of enhances that soapy quality. Now, it's not overly soapy. It's not like one-dimensional, just clean, soapy, but the entire way through the fragrance, there's a warm, kind of a vague, warm spiciness that exists, and it just keeps this thing really alluring, really, really nice. It's clean, but at the same time, it's sophisticated, it's mature, but it never gets boring, it never gets one-dimensional. Now this one here, I think, is supremely versatile for any occasion, but including dates, because for some reason, although this is widely considered to be very clean, very versatile, you know, women really, really like this one. In fact, out of all the fragrances in my collection, this is probably the fragrance, believe it or not, that has garnered the most intense compliments. The intensity of the compliments that this one garners is honestly a little bit surprising for me, because I mean, I consider, a lot of other people consider as well, that this is just, you know, clean, soapy, versatile, not necessarily in your face, not necessarily the most unique fragrance, but like I said, again, the intensity, the compliments that this one garners is pleasantly surprising, and for that reason, I definitely recommend this to you if you're going out on a date with that special someone. It's very alluring, it's intoxicating a little bit, and that might be quite surprising to some of you. It was for me. Next one here, not very well known, at least in the Western world. This one is sexy, it's alluring, it's a little bit daring as well. So the main notes in this one are gonna be cardamom, rose, elemi resin, and amber. So at the end of the day, this is a warm, spicy, ambery fragrance, but in the mid part, the combination of the rose and the elemi can kind of be a little bit animalic. It kind of resembles the smell of ambergris. So some people might liken it to, I don't know, the smell of body odor or something like that. I admit that the mid part of this can be a little bit challenging for some people, but surprisingly, this gets some very, very intense compliments as well. That animalicness is more of a sensual animalic quality as opposed to an offensive animalic quality. Now, I'm gonna put an asterisk next to that because some people do find this a little bit challenging, but I have to say, surprisingly, over the months that I've been wearing this, like so many compliments, a lot of people really, really like this one. Very romantic, very sensual. There's an animalic sensuality, like I said, and it's a very under the radar fragrance, especially in the West. But if you want to draw some positive attention, if you want to come off as romantic, sophisticated, and a little bit daring, I think this is going to be a really good fragrance for you. Amber Wood Noir by Ajmal. Check this one out, guys. Next one on this list, a personal favorite of mine. This is 1740 Marquis de Sade from Histoire de Parfum. Now, I used the word intoxicating to describe another fragrance on this list earlier, but this one is even more intoxicating. And the main notes in this one are going to be Divana, Patchouli, Immortelle, and the dry down is all about leather and incense. So in the beginning, that Divana is going to give this a very boozy, kind of syrupy, balsamic sweetness. This one, upon initial spray, smells like cognac. You know, I get a little bit of that booziness. It's syrupy, it's sweet. In the mid, we get some patchouli, which is going to add to that sweet, syrupy booziness. And we're also going to get some Immortelle, which is going to give it a honeyed, herbal, floral characteristic. It kind of starts to smell a little bit like chamomile tea, and the dry down is all about that light leather. It's kind of like a powdery leather, and there's a heavy dose of smoky incense. So all in all, this is a very intoxicating, alluring fragrance. The name is misleading. You know, Marquis de Sade, historical figure known for depravity, sadism, sexual violence, for example. On the other hand, this fragrance is very romantic. There's a softness about it. It's never in your face or overly challenging at all. There's a little bit of a boozy characteristic, sure, but again, it's not overly alcoholic. It's not gonna put people off. It's more of a romantic, inviting, warm booziness, and mixed with all those other sensual, captivating notes. This is going to just create a very romantic atmosphere. It's going to complement, you know, slow, soft music, close quarters encounters, maybe with a glass of wine or cognac with your loved one. This one's perfect for romantic situations. Like I said, intoxicating, alluring, romantic, very sensual, but there's a softness to it. Never goes over the top. This one is going to be a great one for your date night situations, guys. Don't sleep on this one. And last but not least, this is Noble Wood from St. Dupont. This one probably the least known of any fragrance on this list. The brand in general is quite slept on, at least in the fragrance community. St. Dupont is mostly known for their high-end luxury lighters, but I have to say the fragrances I've tried from this house are exquisite. So the main notes I get out of this one are dried fruits, cognac, amber, and sandalwood. So in general, this is a very sweet, agreeable amber fragrance. However, in the beginning, I do get some dried fruits and I do get some cognac. Now, it's not the same as 1740 Marquis de Sade. That one is much more herbal. This one, not herbal. It's kind of like a sweet dried fruit thing going on, mixed with some cognac. Now, it never goes totally syrupy sweet either. It maintains that kind of dry sweetness. So although it is sweet and actually quite a powerful fragrance, I don't find it ever gets cloying. And of course, after the initial opening, that amber makes itself very apparent. So amber, the accord, has a couple of different notes that it's composed of. In this particular fragrance, I really get the dusty benzoin, of course the vanilla, and there's definitely a big dose of cinnamon. Sometimes amber can give off earthy, spicy cinnamon characteristics as well, and I definitely get that in this one. The dry down, all about that smooth, creamy, musky, warm sandalwood. The name of this is Noble Wood, but I don't think that's accurate. A much better name would be Noble Amber, in my opinion. So this one here, not overly complex. It's sweet, it's ambery, but it smells of very good quality. It's very warm, very agreeable, very mass appealing, inviting, and intoxicating. And this provides sweetness in high doses without ever becoming cloying or syrupy, like I said. So it's sweet, but it maintains a sort of classiness. It never goes completely juvenile, for example. I think this is extremely versatile. Any sort of date night situation. This can complement a formal scenario or a more casual outing as well. Compliments galore on this. I think part of the reason for that is because, well, it's just mass appealing. There's nothing overly complex or challenging about this. And the performance on this is beastly. So again, if you plan on being in, kind of a close quarter situation, go easy on the sprays with this one. But like I said, in public, I have received a lot of unsolicited compliments from women and men both. It's got incredible performance and it just smells very inviting. There's nothing challenging about this. It just smells great, and it's a little bit slept on. This one here, definitely a hidden gem, guys. Noble Wood by St. Dupont. Anyway, guys, that's been my list of 5 best fragrances for Valentine's Day 2024. Although, honestly, you could apply these to any sort of date night situation. Like I said, the fragrance doesn't make the man. The fragrance is just there to complement your existing personality and outfit. So anyway, guys, I hope you check out some of my recommendations. I hope that maybe I've brought some of these lesser known fragrances to light here. Happy Valentine's Day. May the compliments begin. Until next time, guys, keep it real.